The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey there, this is Olivia. We're just gonna give everyone a couple of more minutes to filter in, and then we'll start around 11 Central Time. So we will be back momentarily. Also, if you're able to hear me, if you don't mind just typing that in, there should be like a little questions box where you should be able to type. So if you don't mind just letting me know if you can hear me, that would be great. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Thanks everyone for joining. Hope everyone is hanging in there during this weird winter weather that we seem to be having across the US. Hope everyone's staying safe. Welcome to our webinar series. This is presented in conjunction with HealthTrust Slice of Life program. We're your hosts, Olivia Rowe and Ashley Benningfield, and today we're gonna talk about digital health, unplugging to reconnect.
Olivia is from a small town in Pennsylvania, just outside Williamsport, the home of the Little League World Series. She graduated from Ithaca College in 2013 with a degree in television radio communications and a concentration in screenwriting. Previously, she's worked as a writing assistant in LA and was an editor of a local newspaper in Pennsylvania. Prior to joining Onlife in January of 2019, she worked at Pop Culture Media, an entertainment news website under CBS Interactive. Olivia currently serves as the manager of content and digital media. Just a few fun facts about Olivia. She loves to go hiking, listening to podcasts, and spends much of her free time writing fiction and watching documentaries. She considers herself a news junkie who's obsessed with pop culture trivia.
So Ashley is originally from Germantown, Tennessee, right outside of Memphis. She graduated from UT Knoxville in 2004 with a bachelor's degree in dietetics. From there, she went on to complete her dietetic internship at Vanderbilt University in Nashville. Ashley is a registered dietitian technician, and she's been at OnLife for 15 years. She's held several positions throughout her time there, and she currently serves as our content and digital media specialist. Just a few fun facts about Ashley. OnLife is the only place she's ever worked. She loves cleaning and organizing, working out, and spending time with her husband and her 8-year-old son.
So for those of you that have joined us before, welcome back. And for those of you who may not have had the chance to join us, welcome. We look forward to interacting with everyone today.
As I mentioned, today's webinar is called Digital Health, Unplugging to Reconnect. So before we begin, just a couple of notes about the webinar. So it's being recorded in a listen-only mode. So you'll be able to hear us, but we can't hear you. But during any point during our presentation, you can type in this questions box and we will be able to respond to you. And as always, the last about 10 to 15 minutes of the webinar have been set aside for questions and answers. So we'll attempt to answer as many of those as we can during the Q&A portion today.
According to USA Today, searches for social media detox reached an all-time high in January of last year. They have doubled since December of 2020. Today, we'll be talking about how to take a digital break and how it can help you unplug and reconnect. We'll define what it means to take a digital detox and how to recognize when you need to take a break from all things digital. We'll discuss the benefits of unplugging and we'll give you strategies for taking a digital break and monitoring your habits. At the end, we'll provide you a list of resources you can reference after the presentation. And as Olivia said, we'll leave some time for Q&A. Our hope is that by the end of this presentation, you'll have at least one way you can live healthily and happily with technology in the digital world.
Sorry about that. Before we get started, we wanted to learn a little more about you. We wanted to know, what are you using your devices for mainly? Is it browsing social media? Is it reading the news? Is it shopping online or watching movies? And then we also sort of wanted to know, do you ever unplug or disconnect from your devices? And if so, how and why do you do it? Is it to spend time with family maybe, or, do something else? We would love to hear from you. We'll just give you a minute or two to type your responses. Okay, so someone said media, texting, work, email. At times I disconnect, but haven't for a while. I use my phone for everything. Check my emails, pay bills, read the news. Erin says she unplugs when she goes for a walk. That's great. Banking. Someone said they use it mostly for texting. Someone said they don't really unplug. That's pretty common. Shopping, playing games, Facebook, weather, banking, shopping.
Do not.
Someone said news on TV or computer, phone for texts, and they shut their computer down every night and have do not disturb on during the night. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I also use the do not disturb. I love that.
Yeah, so we're going to get into kind of why it's a good idea to unplug when you're able to. We'll talk about like ways you can unplug that are doable. And we'll sort of get into maybe a little bit towards the end how you might be more in tune with your devices during the pandemic. So
So while technology has some great benefits, it's clear that we can develop bad habits and become addicted to our devices. Here are some statistics that we wanted to share that indicate that. 3 out of 5 people claim to spend more time on their digital devices than with their partners. And even when we're with our partners, we might be watching TV or streaming a movie, or even just sitting on the couch scrolling through social media or playing games. Another study showed that users spend an average of 2 hours and 51 minutes a day on their smartphones. And in comparison, the amount of time that people spent with their families was less than 45 minutes a day. On average, we pick up our phones 58 times a day. According to research from the Nielsen Company, the average US adult spends around 11 hours each day listening to, watching, reading, or interacting with media. The average smartphone owner unlocks their phone 150 times a day, and Americans check their phone once every 10 minutes on average.
And then, so about 84% of cell phone users say they probably could not go a single day without their device. Some studies say that people with cell phones check their device at least every 6 minutes. Almost half of cell phone owners sleep with their phone next to their bed because they don't want to miss any calls or texts. And then this is kind of interesting. Some researchers have begun labeling cell phone checking as the new yawn because of its contagious nature. So, like, I might be in a room with someone and pick up my cell phone to check it, and then that will encourage the other people that I'm in the room with to do the same thing.
Yes, so these days there are many different types of technology and digital devices. There's iPads, tablets, smartphones, laptops, and e-readers. Then there's smartwatches and smart TVs and just your basic internet. So think about how you spend your time using technology. Are you reading a book on an e-reader? Are you listening to music on an iPod, chatting with friends through a smartphone app, posting on social media, or just browsing the internet?
Yeah, so there are so many ways we can use technology, and our dependence on it can be seen pretty much everywhere. It's always evolving, and it's always, seemingly making our lives easier. And it can help us in a lot of positive ways. So I wanted to sort of go over those. It allows us to communicate with each other through text, video chat, email. Technology helps us stay connected with friends and family. And particularly during this time of COVID, it's been very helpful. Shopping. We can shop for clothes online, order our groceries, and even have food delivered in no time with just the click of a button. Again, really helpful during this time. Um, Working, a lot of us are working remotely because of the pandemic. We use devices daily to do our jobs. Entertainment, that could be streaming TV, listening to music, watching movies. Education, you can get a degree online. I'm actually in the middle of doing that myself these days, and you can even learn a new language. And then, everything related to health, smartwatches, virtual doctor's visits, health apps and trackers, online medical records, refilling prescriptions. And then, even relationships, you can go online and find your match these days through an online dating app. But have you ever thought, about what it would be like without our devices? What would happen? How would you maybe spend your extra time? So for example, there was a bombing here in Nashville over Christmas. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but it did impact an AT&T building. And because of that, a lot of us with AT&T service, I myself did not have cell phone service at all or internet on Christmas Day. So that was a bit of a challenge. I stayed here over the pandemic instead of going home to visit family. So it was kind of an interesting sort of day to try to figure out what am I going to do when I can't really talk to anyone. So I really just, read a book. I think I did end up like watching DVDs because I had some of those. But it was just a very interesting experience because it was the first time in a long time that I wasn't just completely tuned into everything that was going on.
So we just talked about how technology can positively impact our lives, but in some instances, it can negatively affect our health, both mentally and physically. Prolonged use of digital devices can lead to digital eye strain. Some symptoms include blurred vision, dry eyes, headaches, and even neck and shoulder pain. And some factors that may result in eye strain include glare on your screen, having poor lighting, and having a poor ergonomic setup. So to help avoid eye strain, you can try the 20-20-20 rule, which is every 20 minutes, you take a 20-second break and look at something that's at least 20 feet away. And using smartphones for long intervals of time changes our brain chemistry. The more we use our phones and devices, the more our brains gravitate towards them and crave the use of them. When we use devices for long periods of time, our brain increases its production of dopamine, which is a hormone that's associated with the reward system of the brain. And the more rewards we receive, the more we want. So picking up our devices kind of becomes a mindless habit, but we should be aware of what we're exposing our brains to. If we're constantly seeing bad things, we can start to become more negative, more anxious, and have bad thought patterns. But the good news is our brains are always changing and they aren't stagnant. We can always learn new things, new skills, and how to change our thought patterns. When you're looking at your phone, your head and neck are most likely in an unnatural position, one that puts a lot of stress on your neck, shoulders, and spine. You may have heard this is referred to as tech neck. In addition to causing neck and shoulder pain, excessive device usage can lead to repetitive strain injuries of the fingers, the thumbs, and wrists. So to avoid these pains, you want to take frequent stretching breaks and maintain good posture while using your devices. Another negative health effect is insomnia. This is a big one. So having technology in the bedroom can cause many problems. In fact, according to the National Sleep Foundation, more than 90% of people admit to using their devices at least 1 hour prior to bedtime. And this can be stimulating enough to impact your sleep. The blue light that is emitted from devices can actually suppress melatonin and interrupt your circadian clock. It's harder to fall asleep, and in the morning, you're less alert. So while it's tempting to carry your devices to the bedroom, it's a good idea to make your bedroom a device-free zone. Research shows that there's a correlation between excessive technology use and our emotional health. And given that we're in a pandemic, people are spending more time on their devices, and we're seeing even more anxiety and stress. Technology can also affect our relationships. As we previously mentioned, about 3 out of 5 people claim to spend more time on their devices than with their own partners. And over time, you can see how that can really take a toll on your relationships. And finally, technology can affect your productivity. 84% of US working adults use their personal phones during work hours. And when we're constantly being interrupted with pings and dings and alerts and notifications, it's no wonder that we're compulsively checking our devices. And that can be hazardous to our productivity. One study that was conducted by the University of California, Irvine, revealed that once you've been distracted, it takes nearly 23 minutes to get back on track. I found that very, very interesting.
And then we have doom scrolling, which can also be pretty bad for your health. And that's sort of when you scroll through bad news on your phone or through the TV, despite the fact that a lot of the news is, sad, disheartening, or depressing. And this has become even more common during COVID as more people have flocked to social media for information about the pandemic, the transition between presidents, and even entertainment news. And many people may start to experience burnout as a result of their excessive device usage. For me personally, doom scrolling was a really big thing I was doing, especially 3 months ago. It's certainly gotten better. I think I've taken time to unplug using some of the methods that we're going to talk about later, and that's been really helpful. But I would encourage you that if you find yourself doing that, you feel like it's impacting your mood, to try to take a step back and see what else you can do. So then we have, this idea of a digital detox, and a detox can often be seen as a negative thing. You might hear it in conjunction with, detoxing from food, sugar, or alcohol. But a detox doesn't always have to be something you're consuming orally that's not making your body feel the best. We also need to detox from things that aren't good for us mentally, things that we're consuming in our mind, thoughts that we're having, or things that we're watching. The ways that we spend our time can actually create problems in our lives. So, one way to remove those things is through a digital detox, which is a period of time when someone refrains from using technology. And that would include smartphones, TVs, computers, laptops, iPads, and social media. So, finding balance, in this world where we're constantly connected all the time can be really stressful and overwhelming. We can be left feeling a lot of different ways: anxious, lonely, distracted. We lose focus, we lose track of time, and it can affect our confidence and our self esteem, especially when we're trying to play the comparison game on social media. Taking a detox sort of allows you to focus on the present, focus on your real life interactions without all the distractions. And stepping away can allow you to focus more on your relationships, your work, and the other things that matter most. And hopefully, you'll be left feeling healthier and happier with more hours in your day.
So why should someone take a digital detox, and what are the benefits? So while smartphones and devices can provide so much for us, they can also cause us to miss out on life. So we wanted to go over just a few benefits of unplugging. More optimistic and positive outlook on life. We typically see the good, happy times and moments from people's lives than we do the sad, bad times. We see the vacations, the birthdays, the celebrations, and the babies being born, but rarely do we see the arguments had by two spouses or best friends, or the job loss. By powering down, we can remove unhealthy feelings like jealousy and loneliness and refocus on the gratitude we have for our own lives. Another benefit is improved relationships and social connections. Powering down allows us to offer our undivided attention and make real, genuine connections. We get to enjoy the simple things when we disconnect. Again, devices can do so much for us, but if we're not careful, they can cause us to miss out on not only the important things in life, but also the simple things, even like nature. Powering down allows us to learn to live in the moment and enjoy the little things life has to offer. We can enjoy what's happening right in front of us in that very moment. We also gain solitude. Solitude allows us to be still and quiet and reflect on our lives and our hearts, but it's hard to find that solitude when we're consumed with always being connected. It's only by being intentional about shutting off our screens that we can find solitude. We also get better sleep. Looking at your phone, like we said before bed can impact your sleep. But by unplugging, you can change the quality of your sleep. And you'll also experience less stress. But you don't have to eliminate everything digital from your life. Even making small changes to your digital consumption can make a big difference.
One second. So we often don't even realize that we pick up our phones or devices. It's just something that we do out of habit. And it's really easy to get caught up mindlessly scrolling. But eventually that overuse will cause our mind and our bodies to start feeling it. You might not think that you really have, a digital addiction, but that's sort of the nature of it. You don't realize your level of addiction until the item is taken away. The only real way to know is if you take it away, turn it off, leave it behind, and see just how strong the pull is to come back to it. But how do you know how much is too much? How do you know that it's time to take a break? I'm gonna get into a few of these signs. Do you find yourself comparing yourself to others on social media? Do you feel dissatisfied with your own life because of what you're seeing online? Do you check your device first thing in the morning? Is it the last thing you check at night before you go to sleep? Do you find yourself scrolling without even realizing it? Maybe, you're looking at your phone and realize an hour of time has gone by and you don't even know how that happened. If you get on social media without even realizing it, it's probably time for a break. Even little scrolling sessions here and there can add up. If you find yourself feeling down or angry at what you see online, you might be encountering doom scrolling. Are you having relationship difficulties because of how much you're using technology? Are you losing sleep because you stay up using your phone? Are you struggling at work because your devices are interfering with productivity? So if you answered yes to any of these, it's probably time to take a break. And so throughout the rest of our presentation, we're going to take a look at some strategies to help you break and reconnect with everything around you.
So there are many ways to unplug, and it's important to find what works best for you. But first, do you know how much time you actually spend on your devices? Most of us probably think we use them much less than we actually do. So before you decide to unplug, it's important to track your device usage to help you better understand how much time you're spending on your device and where you need to make a change. So most smartphones have a built-in screen time app, and there's also apps you can install for additional tracking features, and we'll be highlighting a few of those in just a few minutes. So once you've assessed your usage, you can decide what's best for you. For example, if giving up all devices 100% of the time sounds overwhelming and unrealistic, that's okay. You might find that focusing on limiting or restricting your use of just one kind of device, whether it's your phone, iPad, or even your video gaming console, or a specific app like Facebook might work better for you. You can set your own limits once you've found what works for you. You can do a digital fast. This is like taking an extended break, but on a regular basis. You give up your devices for a short period of time, like 1 day or 1 week. You can also go device-free 1 day of the week and abstain from using them just for that day. Is there one app, website, game, or other tool that's consuming you? If so, try taking a specific detox and restrict your use of that specific tool. And finally, you can also take a hiatus from social media. It could be for 1 week or 1 month. You can delete social media apps from your device without actually deleting your account. But if you decide to take a social media break, be sure to let your friends and connections know what you're doing. This way, they know that you're okay and they won't worry about why you're not responding to that group chat or to that Instagram post.
So you can also set, certain parameters. So for example, you can set app limits. You can limit how much time you spend on specific apps, games, or other digital tools. And again, in the next, I think, slide, we'll get into how you can do that. You can also set time limits. For example, maybe you stop using your phone during meals, you're sitting around with your family, or maybe you don't use your device within the first hour of waking up or 1 hour before bedtime. You want to commit to not looking at or turning on your phone during the first hour after you get out of bed. Instead of checking your phone, maybe try using that time to meditate or plan out your day. You could also power down for a certain amount of time each day, choose a specific time, and make an intentional effort to power down. As I mentioned, that could be the first hour after you wake up, or if you find that the last hour before bed works better for you, then you can try that. You can even try powering down on your lunch break, or if you have children, the time prior to putting your kids to bed. The specific time isn't really as important as becoming disciplined and making a habit to power down during that time. You can also set room limits. So that involves setting limits on where you can take your phone within your house. Maybe you don't bring it into your bedroom at night. You could get an alarm clock or something. And maybe you don't take it into the kitchen while you're cooking dinner or eating with your family. And when you do that, you'll be surprised at just how much more present you are.
Some other ways you can take control of your devices include removing an app. One option is to delete or remove an app from your phone. Like I just said, especially things like social media. These are the kinds of apps that are designed to suck you in. So if it's not there, you're likely not going to use it. If you don't remove the app, you can set specific times to look at or use it. You can set specific time limits to get on and scroll, like on your lunch break each day, for no more than 10 minutes. You can do a mini detox, taking short breaks for hours at a time, or engaging in a digital diet, limiting your digital intake to emails or other routine activities. Turning off your notifications is another good one. This can limit the desire for that beck and call back to your phone. Again, moving your devices out of the bedroom, them elsewhere, and not using your phone as an alarm. And finally, scroll less and live more, and just practice some mindfulness when using your phone.
So there's actually this really cool thing, which is this National Day of Unplugging, and it's observed annually the first weekend in March, actually, so it's coming up. This year, it's on March 5th through the 6th. And it's basically just this awareness campaign that focuses on, highlighting human connection over digital. And it basically just asks to take a 24-hour break from technology. And if you want to learn more about it, you can go to nationaldayofunplugging.com. Here, maybe some reasons that people say that they unplug. This is pulled directly from the website. To cherish the moment, to spend time in nature and unwind outdoors, to read a book, to spend time with kids, to play board games, to listen to music and color, and to have fun doing some arts and crafts.
So depending on your device, you may have noticed the built-in screen time features that are available. Of course, this all varies depending on which operating system you have. For Android devices, it's called Digital Wellbeing, and for iPhones, it's called Screen Time. Android's Digital Wellbeing tool allows you to manage how you spend your time on your Android device. You can get information on things like how often you unlock your phone, how frequently and how long you use various apps. And you can use that information to improve your digital well-being by setting timers for specific apps, as well as using features like bedtime mode to help you unplug and disconnect at night.
So I'm going to be honest, I have an Android and I have used this digital well-being tool. And basically how it works is you can go into your phone and you can see there's a photo that you should be able to see on your screen. It's basically a snapshot of what I see when I open this feature. So it will tell me how much time I've spent on my phone that day. And it will also tell me where I'm spending most of my time. Usually it's like on TikTok or Twitter or something. So that's nice. It's a little bit, I think, alarming because like we've said earlier, you don't really think about how much you're using your phone, or you think that, oh, I haven't really looked at it that much today. And then you open it and you're like, oh, actually, no, I have been on my phone quite a bit today. And so then it will also allow you to go into like individual apps. So I know, for instance, that I spend a lot of time on Twitter because I like to read the news and doom scroll. So I will set a limit on my app that says, okay, I'm only going to spend 20 minutes on Twitter today. And so then once I hit 20 minutes, the app will basically tell me, sorry, you've reached your limit for the day. You can return to it tomorrow. I will say that if you are someone that is a little bit more of an addict like I am, sometimes I will go in and change the time limit again. And also I have Twitter on my computer and I'm on my computer a lot. So I have had instances where I actually have given my Twitter to my friend and said, hey, I recognize that I'm a little bit of a news addict right now and I really need to take a step back because I can really feel that it's impacting my mental health. So can you please just like get in here and change my password? So I actually did do that once a few months ago when my doom scrolling was really bad, and my friend changed the password, and I told her that I didn't want it for like 4 or 5 days. And then after that time had passed, she did give me the password, and then at that point I had reset enough that I was much better about my time spending on there. So sometimes, I mean, it does take drastic measures, but if you're self-aware enough that it's, you can recognize when it's really a time to take a break.
Thank you for sharing that. So the iPhone screen time feature monitors the way you use your devices, and it provides information such as how long you've spent on certain app categories and specific apps, and how many times you've picked up your iPhone in a given day or even an hour. And I have an iPhone, and I'll have to say I don't utilize this tool as much as I should, but I do have the weekly summary that tells me, how much, my device usage was up 66% or down 23%. And that comes to me like every Sunday, I think. So, but I am going to try to be better and make an intentional effort to utilize this tool more. There are other apps that you can install to help you better manage the areas that are problematic for you. For example, there's an app called Moments, and it helps you reduce your screen time and social media use by making small tweaks to your daily habits. They even have free daily guided coaching that shows you how to disconnect and take control of your device usage. And Freedom is an app that helps you reduce your social media consumption by setting up periods of time to block apps. And you can even disable your internet connection for a set period. But one thing we wanted to bring to your attention is that spending too much time tracking on your phone is counterintuitive to unplugging. So we just wanted to make you aware of that.
So Colleen asked, she said, what was the app for iPhone? She said she missed that. I think, Ashley, did you say it's a setting in your iPhone?
Yeah, it's called Screen Time.
Yeah, so I think, Colleen, you should just be able to go into your phone settings and it should be in there under screen time.
Yeah, so it comes with the phone. It's not like an app that you have to download. Let me see really quick.
This Freedom and Moments apps, those are apps you can download externally, but both iPhone and Android have a setting already built into it that you can go into and manage.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Yeah, so we hope that you learned something new today and can take some of these strategies and, think a little bit more about unplugging and disconnecting. I did want to mention, as I said before, it is really hard to fully unplug right now. I live by myself. My family is states away. I'm lucky that I have a lot of friends that I can connect to virtually and coworkers I can connect to virtually. But that does mean that I have excessive device usage right now, more than I would in any other time. And I think that's pretty normal. And I would say, don't be hard on yourself if you find yourself on your devices maybe more than you would otherwise. I think, just being cognizant of what is affecting you, like what you feel like is affecting you emotionally. I said earlier I had to have my friend take away my Twitter for a while because I realized that like reading the news was really impacting my mood and I had to take a step back from that. But Skyping my friends, that was bringing me a lot of joy. And so that's something that I do at least a few times a week. And I think that's fine. So, don't be too hard on yourself. And I think just being aware of what you're using it for and how it's affecting you is really the most important thing.
Yeah, so I just checked on my iPhone settings. If you just go to your settings, and then it's in like the little second section. It's the fourth little icon. It looks like an hourglass. It'll say screen time. And again, I think this all varies on depending which operating system you have, but if it's up to date with the latest one, it should be there. So, and then you can click on the little arrow and it shows you all kinds of things. So app limits, you can set time limits for and schedule time away from the screen. So yeah.
Yeah, and I would say too, if your phone is not, you don't have the latest operating system or you're operating on an old phone, you could probably just like Google, like iPhone, I don't know, 7 screen time limit, because it would tell you if the feature is available for that operating system or that phone. And then I would say if it's something you're interested in and the phone doesn't offer it built in, then you can, maybe download an external app like one of these and see if that works for you.
Yes. So also be sure to log into your secure account on HealthTrust's secure enrollee portal and click the Onlife Health button. And there you can find lots of resources related to the topic today. Also for your reference, we provided a list of websites that contain information on digital well-being. And now we want to hear from you. What is one new thing that you learned? You can type your responses in the chat box in the window panel and feel free to ask us any other questions and we'll do our best to answer those.
Oh, Joyce said she just turned on her screen time feature and she's curious to see what it tells her. Yeah, it's pretty,
Okay.
I think it's pretty eye-opening.
Yes, it is. I think too, being able to see how many times you pick up your phone during the day, not even just unlocking it, just picking it up just to check to see maybe if you have a a new notification or something. So it is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I definitely do that all the time. Carla said she learned the 20-20-20 rule. Yeah, that's pretty helpful. Tracking options. Beth said she installed the Moment app and started the bootcamp. Oh, cool. I haven't used that app. I'm curious to see how it works for you. Good to know about the screen time feature. Really understanding the aspect of screen time affecting relationships. Need to limit my computer time at home.
I feel like the relationship one is a big one too. And even with, like, my son is 8 years old, and obviously right now they're not in school because of the weather, but also due to the pandemic, they're, in and out of virtual and in person. And he's just on a screen all day long with a computer, and then he wants to watch his iPad. So it's just, I think, like Olivia alluded to earlier, just being kind to yourself and given the situation that we're in. So I think that's important to keep in mind as well.
Does anyone have any? Okay, I was gonna ask if anyone has any questions. Mary said, I'm turning off my notification ring because I've noticed my heart rate increases when I hear the ring. Yeah, that's important. Also, I think, I don't know how many of you are working from home, but I think also creating boundaries when you work from home is really important. Um, Working from home is really nice that we have that flexibility. But it can be challenging to sort of like separate work from home. So like sort of getting on a schedule if you're able to. And then also what I do is I keep the notifications for my work email off my phone. And the same thing for our like messaging service. So I set a time during the day and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to respond to emails or messages after this time. And I'm just going to step away from my work laptop to do something else. So I think that can be really important too, to just keep in mind, if you're blending work and home time, I think that can impact you too. Fran said it's hard to limit kids' time during remote learning and it's how they socialize with friends. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty tough.
Yeah. I know sometimes I feel, guilty for letting them do all that, but that is true. I mean, they have messenger kids and that's all they FaceTime their friends, and just difficult time.
Excuse me, I can't see who commented this, but it says, I really like the do not disturb option. Oh, Carla. I really like the do not disturb option on my phone as I am in a different time zone than my kids. And if it is emergent, they just call twice in a row and they will get through. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Oh, I can mention something. For Christmas, I got the Apple Watch, which now comes, goes along with the iPhone, and there is the bedtime setting. So automatically at 9 o'clock every night, my watch goes into sleep mode, and as well as my phone. So I don't get anything after 9 o'clock unless like I physically have to like hit dismiss and swipe up to access my phone. So I can tell, I mean, it's made a difference. I immediately put my phone down by the bed and get in the bed, whereas before I might get in bed and scroll for a few minutes, and then, before you know it, 20 minutes has gone by.
Yeah, I've spent too many nights scrolling through TikTok before bed. So I think that's a good idea. Does anyone have any other questions or comments? We still have some time, so if you do, feel free to shoot us a question or comment. While I wait and see if there are any more, I did just want to mention that you will be receiving a follow-up email, I think either tomorrow or Friday, and that will have the webinar in it, like a recording, in case you, like, for whatever reason, want to rewatch it or, pick out some resources for it. And you can also send me an email if you want, if you happen to have questions later that you can't think of today, or if you want me to point you to any resources that might help you. My email should have been on the reminder email that you got, but if you didn't get one or it didn't show up, the follow-up email that you'll receive either tomorrow or Friday will have my email address on it. So, okay, well, I don't see any more questions. We really appreciate everyone joining us, and we hope that everyone's staying safe. It's just in the same time right now with the pandemic and the weather. So we really appreciate you joining us. Our next webinar is in May, and that's going to be on clearing the clutter, which I think both Ashley and I are pretty excited about.
Yes.
So more details to come on that one. But we really appreciate everyone tuning in, and we will talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.